Okay guys, I'm about out of room in my saw shop. When I built this little shed, it was for a summer kitchen. I'm gonna fill in this porch. I had this front porch so I could set canners and stuff outside when it was real hot. This whole building's made out of utility poles, is what I sawed this out of. I'm gonna close this in with tapered lap siding. I want to show you guys how I sawed it, and I want to show you the homemade jig I made to saw tapered lap siding. Go from this to this. Here's the old lap siding, how it works. There's 5 inches sticking out and 3 inches up underneath, so that's going to shed water down like this. I can finish this corner out. I probably won't, but I could. And they did that so the water can just run down that. If the wind blows, it can actually, depends on how this dries up, it can actually blow up through these a little bit if they warp down through there. But it won't blow rain up through it, and it won't blow snow up to it. They'll go back and wind will come back and hit this surface and splat down. Wind might mix it up, but it ain't going to carry rain in and snow in and get on top, and that's basically all we need for this deal. So let's go back to yesterday, getting our Wayback Machine. Let's go out to the sawmill. I want to show you how I sawed this tapered lap siding and show you the jig I used to saw it with. I got the old Woodmizer LT40 super hydraulic fired up today. Getting ready to saw some lap siding for the saw shed. First thing we got to do is make some cants. So we got to square up the cants and take them off. I'll build 2 or 3 cants, then I'll put my lap siding jig on here, and then I'll saw all my lap siding. So and there's a lot of waste to making cants, and I'll show you that here. So you get an idea of what's going on while I'm squaring these up. Now when you're sawing lap siding, there's going to be a lot of waste on your log, depends on how big a log. I usually saw about an 8-inch cant. There's a lot of waste on it, because like I say, this here part's what's going to go into jig. I'll probably get a 1x or 2 off there, or two 2x, or whatever I want. But pay attention to what you're sawing off here. It's not necessarily technically waste if you can use it, but if you're sawing just lap siding, you're going to wind up with a bunch on the sides. It's a pretty wasteful process if the only thing you're going to get out of is lap siding. Yeah, plan accordingly, best I can tell you. Oh, yeah. It's about time to do chores. We got a couple cants cut. That'll be a good start on sawing lap siding tomorrow. But we got some nice, we'll be able to cut some nice 2x4s and 2x6s out of those, whatever we need. I know we're going to need some 2x4s for the project. We'll put those over there on the, for the edger. I'll run those through the edger when I get time. I'm not going to saw them into 2x4s right now on the edger because I may need 2x6s or 2x8s. That's 14 inches of pretty solid wood, a good foot. So I can get 3 2x4s, 2 2x6s, 2x12, whatever I need. So I'm not going to saw it yet. We'll determine what we need. Okay, here's my homemade lap siding tool, top version. This is where the cant's going to set. I'll show you better once we get on the sawmill, but I'm going to give you an overview right now so you can see underneath the side of it. This is what holds the cant. It's 10 inches wide. I can fit a 10-inch cant in here. There's the hold downs for it. I usually run them with impact. But anyhow, those will squeeze down to where I can hold about a 6-inch can in there, give or take. So it's adjustable there. The hinge here is just made out of 1-inch tubing and 1-inch OD tubing and some sucker rod. The hinge down here that it pivots on is made out of 7/8 sucker rod. I wouldn't use anything any lighter than that. The torque flex, because it lifts on the end of those. You want to have something pretty substantial there. I built it the first time with like 5/8 or 3/4 sucker rod, and it had too much flex in it. Boy, I got that swinging. That's probably not helping the video in any, is it? I ain't no good at this, guys. I try to help you guys. I try to show you guys some of the stuff I do, but man, I ain't no good at veg cording yet. Let me move around here. I want to show you a couple things. You'll notice there's 2-inch box tubing up here, but it's only 1-inch wide box tubing down there. That allows this to fall down under center. When I put the hydraulics to it, it puts it straight. When I release the hydraulics, it lets it fall down on here. There's another spacer here that I did just to fine tune it. This channel here and here are to keep it from sliding on the bed, because there's nothing that holds this down to the bed other than the weight of the can on it, and it works fine, but this is not clamped down. This is to keep it from sliding anywhere. This is the part I wanted to show you now. We're hanging on chain, barely hanging on chain. Dadgummit, I live dangerous. Here's the hinge, and when I hinge that out, I've got bolts welded on this, on the end of here. I've kind of made a cam, and I've ground that bolt down. That kind of made a cam, and I've ground that bolt head down to a taper so it'll rise. It'll slide up. When I release that, that lets that drop down. When I put the hydraulic clamp to it, it raises it up. Now I want to show you, once I get this on the mill, this hydraulic clamp, how I got that finally figured out. I tore up some stuff doing it. Hydraulics has a lot of power. I was just bending this thing. That's how I had to rebuild all this. You don't want the pivot point here too close either, or too far. I had the original pivot point back here, and there was not enough mechanical advantage. This extension just rides down and rides right on my clamp. With it all the way down, my clamp will slide underneath of it. Okay, we got it ready to set a can in here. First, I want to bring you in and show you an issue, a problem, and of course a solution. I'm going to try not to show you problems without solutions on this channel unless I've got a problem and looking for a solution, and ask you guys to help me out. Okay, most of you guys probably know if you run a sawmill. If you don't, well, and are interested in stuff like this, I'm going to get a little rudimentary, so sorry for you guys that already have a sawmill. This is the clamp. It raises up and down. This is what comes in and clamps the log against these uprights here. There's just a metal block here that this rides up and down in. It also slides back and forth. It's got a linear, it's just a bushing, but a linear bearing that this slides in and out on. This face of this is going to react against this right here, and when I do that, you'll see that raises the inside. When it's level, it'll be sitting about like that. When it's down, the cant's actually tipping in towards sawmill, but it rests flat here. When I put my clamp in, it raises it up. This arm is not at the end of the stroke on this clamp, meaning that clamp will come farther than this arm needs to come. Well, I'm going to show you how it works and how it can go bad, and then well, I probably won't show you how it go bad, because it can actually it'll warp this whole thing. I probably won't show you how to go bad. I'm going to show you what I did to rectify that problem, to keep from bending this up. That's why this here was bent up. I did a real nice job welding it together, and about like anything, I do a nice job of welding together and making it all pretty. Something's wrong and I got to cut it back apart, then I'm mad, so I just go cutting and hacking and gluing again. There is another problem with this, that it was true to form, cheap fix. You'll notice this here, especially if the cant's getting light, it didn't have enough weight here to push that back, so this clamp actually needs pulled back. Fixed that with a tarp strap wrapped around there. That way it give it a little bit of flex, and if I went back too far with that, it didn't move the cant. I just hooked a tarp strap right around this. All worked fine, lasts a long time. Down here, this is a hydraulic ram that runs this clamp. It's on a scissor, and I'll show you how I limited that. Now, you farm people are probably familiar with these, and if you're not, I'm going to explain again. I don't want to assume people know stuff, and I hate boring people that already know it, but I don't know where to quit explaining a little bit sometimes. These are hydraulic spacers you can buy at any farm store. They're designed for a farm implement. You can limit how far like a disc will go in the ground by putting these spacers on there. It'll only let the cylinder retract so far. And they come in different thicknesses. Usually they come in a 4-pack, and there's like 4 different thicknesses, so you can kind of, and I've got a couple different sets of them. And you'll notice I had them on this bolt. That's so I can keep these same 3. I trialed and errored and played until I got them just right. They just snap over the cylinder like this, and they just ride up and down. Now what those will do, those will limit that throw. Those will limit that throw to where they won't wreck this mechanism in here. I'll show you. Here, that's all she did. That's all to go, and it's level. So that's what we need. Now, if you'll notice, this cant is the worst on the bottom, and I want to mount that so any bad part that I can is on the bottom. There's a little bit of bark on top too, and the reason being, I can't saw down past this 2-inch angle iron. If I was to cut it off a little bit shorter, of course I could saw shorter, But that does leave me a 2x on the bottom. That's another part of the waste, if you will, on sawing lap siders. Just waste all over the place. Waste, waste, waste. I won't be able to talk to you once I get going. I don't have a good enough mic. It won't pick up from there. You'll notice I got a couple numbers wrote there. I had them wrote there. I about lost them. I always thought I could remember stuff. Not anymore. And there's two important measurements on my sawmill and the way I got this built. Yours may be different. But I got two different drops on my head, on my saw head. When it's sawing one way, I need to drop 3/32. Then the next cut, I need to drop 13/16. Then 3/32 again and 13/16. I switch back and forth for every cut because of the different angle. You'll see it. I'll set you up behind me. I just won't be able to talk to you then. But anyhow, you'll probably want to write that down. I need to weld it in there, I guess. I think I can remember stuff forever, but then something more important comes into my head, like how many mosquito pelts it makes to make a fur coat. And then this menial measurement's gone. put this thing on autopilot. I want to show you where that waste comes in. Well, there's where we're at, guys. We got two cants worth of lap siding. I probably won't show you the carpentering. I do have a tool or two built for that too. But boy, nobody wants to start hearing me talk about carpentering, because if you're relying on me for carpentering skills, you're in bad shape. You'd be in worse shape than that little pig made his house out of straw. We'll get this unloaded and get that waste can out of there. We'll see what we got. That first one that come off there, that was just to clean the log up. I'll have to count, see if we got enough to do. I know we got enough to do one end of that. We'll see if we got enough to do both. If we got to saw another cant, we got to saw another cant. I like to plan ahead a little bit better, so I don't have to take that jig on and off. I like sawing all my cants at once. 27, 29, 31, 33, 35, 37. Oh. Times 5, 185, isn't it? 37 times 5, 3 5, 150. Yeah, 180, 185. Divide that by 2 is 92 and a half. I think we got just enough to do on 5-inch cover on that. You can stretch that out and cover more or less. If I do 5-inch cover on that, that'll do both ends of that barn. It's 8-inch wood, but there'll be 3 inches tucked up under it. So I'll do a 5-inch cover on that, I think. We'll see how it looks. And the beauty of that, I was able to take and move my Chainsaw Dyno out here, get it out there. It'll be in here in the dry. I can open this side door here. Be able to get this in the dry. I'll be able to open this side door back behind us. Chainsaw exhaust to blow straight out of it, and it's not going to be in my way there in the shop. So this went on that porch where we've seen before. I think that's going to work out real nice.